Hello, you all. Welcome to Living Unveiled with Maddie. Happy new month. Today we're going to talk about something that happened years ago when I worked in the corporate world. I witnessed something that left a permanent impression on me about accountability and performance. It was a well-structured organization with strong corporate culture. Everyone knew the unwritten rules that governed the environment. People even joked about them openly. The rule number one in the company was the chairman is always right. The rule number two was if the chairman is wrong, refer to rule number one. Those rules were humorous, but they carried a serious message. When the chairman walked into a room, everything changed. Decisions are settled, discussions end, and accountability becomes immediate. Normally, the company would hold quarterly review meetings where department heads presented reports, projections, and strategies. These meetings happened at predictable time and people often came prepared. But one particular month, something unusual happened. An emergency meeting was suddenly called in the middle of the month, not at the usual end of the quarter. Rumors spread that the chairman himself might attend, but no one knew for certain. People prepared presentations, explanations, and proposals, strategies that were still in progress, intentions for the months ahead, and they thought the plans would suffice. And then the chairman walked in. From that moment, it became clear that intentions did not matter. Plans did not matter. What mattered was what had been produced. He looked only at the numbers, at the actual results and the bottom line. The consequences were immediate. Some employees lost their jobs, others were demoted, forced to report to people who had previously been their subordinates. The lesson was unmistakable. In business, performance, not promise, is what counts. This corporate reality mirrors a spiritual truth that many believers fail to grasp, that heaven also reviews stewardship because life operates on a similar principle. Every year, every person receives the same allocation, 365 days. Remember that time is heaven's most valuable capital entrusted to every human being. As we enter the month of March, approximately 59 days have already passed. That means over 1/6 of the year is gone. The question is simple. What has been done with the time that has already been spent? We're not talking about intentions or explanations or dreams, but actual fruits, the tangible impact of heaven's investments. Jesus illustrates this principle in the parable of the talents in Matthew 25. A master entrusted resources to his servants. When he returned, he did not ask what they intended to do. He asked what they actually did. 2 multiplied their talents, 1 buried it. The master's response was sharp. The servant was wicked and slothful, not for failing to try, but for producing nothing. The principle is clear. Again, heaven measures stewardship, not intent. Now, in that corporate meeting, the chairman, a human being, created fear, urgency, and accountability with his mere presence. Yet he was limited. He did not know everything. He relied on reports, on numbers, and what could be measured. If the presence of a human being could create such consequences, how much more should we recognize the authority of God, the all-knowing, the all-seeing, and the omnipotent? Hebrews 4 verse 13 says, "Neither is there any creature that is not manifest in his sight, but all things are naked and open unto the eyes of him with whom we have to do it." Understand this, that nothing escapes God's knowledge. No day is wasted outside his observation. No action is hidden under from his review. Also, understand that life is never neutral. Many believers behave as if life can be lived in a neutral state, neither advancing or opposing God. Jesus rejected that notion in Matthew 12:30. He said, "He that is not with me is against me, and he that gathereth not with me scatters abroad. Neutrality does not exist spiritually. Even in nature, neutrality is part of a system that requires movement. In electricity, the neutral line is not isolated, it participates in the current. If you remove it, the system fails. Similarly, human life is either actively advancing God's purpose or leaving space for darkness to expand. Many believers build personal bubbles, comfort zones around themselves, their families, and their immediate need. They assume that if they maintain their own pace, perhaps they will be safe. But scripture warns that when those who carry light become passive, darkness does not remain stagnant. Rules. Righteousness is not only personal, it preserves society. When believers withdraw, the protective influence of righteousness diminishes and evil expands to fill the vacuum. The Bible describes this in Genesis 6:11. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. Cruelty did not appear suddenly. It grew as moral and spiritual responsibility waned. A common misconception again is that societal or personal crisis appears first in visible form. Scripture consistently demonstrates that spiritual decay often precedes physical collapse. Before Jerusalem fell, prophets had already warned of corruption. Before nations declined politically, their spiritual foundations erode. Before families fracture outwardly, internal commitment failed. Visible crises are often the end stage of the longer invisible process, and this explains why physical protections, stronger walls, financial security, safe environments cannot fully guard against systemic failure. They cannot compensate for spiritual neglect. Which brings me back to time being heaven's currency. Every day spent is an investment from God. Moses prayed in Psalm 90 verse 12. He said, "So teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom." Paul wrote in Ephesians 5:16, "Let us redeem the time, because the days are evil." And Jesus instructed in Luke 19 verse 13, "Occupy till I come." Occupy means to engage, multiply, produce. Do not bury what has been entrusted to you. This is the month for your spiritual review, because nearly 2 months of the year have already passed. The question before every believer is simple or weighty. What has been done with the time entrusted to you this year? It's not about the plans or the intentions, neither is it about the explanations, but the actual fruits, what heaven can count as productive. God, unlike the human chairman, does not rely on rumors or reports. He knows the hearts, intentions, and actions of every person. Every day counts, and every wasted day is noted. Paul exhorts us in Ephesians 5:14, "Awake, thou that sleepest, and arise from the dead, and Christ shall give thee light." This warning is clear. Spiritual sleep is dangerous. So it is time to arise, redeem the days, and live intentionally. Use your influence, your gift, and time to advance the kingdom. Multiply what heaven entrusted to you. Prepare, because the master is coming and the evaluation will be exact. March 1st is your mid-year emergency review. The clock is moving. The numbers are being tallied. The question remains, what will heaven's review say about you? Until next time, stay rooted and stay unveiled. God bless you.